Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to watch the best debate platform in the country. This is the Great Debaters Contest Season 9, Kiambu Region. I am your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperancia Kapanga. And today the motion on the table is strong dictatorship is better than a weak democracy.
Proposing this motion are the lovely ladies from MarryHill Girls High School.
And in the opposition, we have Juja Preparatory School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
This is something impregnable, stable, hard to break or pull down. Better, something that is more advantageous. Dictatorship, this is using power in an unreasonable way by telling people what to do and not listening to them. Democracy, it is a system of government in which all the people in the country can vote to elect a representative, or rather, the rule of the people, by the people, and for the people. Weak is something that is easy to influence. Daniela Akinyi from the MarryHill Girls High School. In weak democracy, we can vote, and in most cases, we do vote in corrupt leaders. The citizens hope for a good future, good roads, good facilities, food security. I mean, that's what we get from the manifesto, right? We believe that we can make it, but it's all for nothing. The leaders that we end up choosing in a weak democracy make empty promises and lie to us. The citizens feel lied to and wasted. Why then did they have to make these long lines if they knew they were choosing people who wouldn't be of any use to them, who wouldn't listen to their views? In weak democracy, we choose leaders who do nothing much but enrich themselves. I mean, they promise us development, but the only development we do see is the development of their own selves. So if you must not care about me or care about what I have to say, at least develop my country. At least do something tangible that I can say, you made a difference. Instead of sorting your bank account to replenish the funds that you use to take me as a fool, to lie to me. If I must say, I prefer a dictator who will lead me the right direction, who will make me grow, who will make my country grow, and most importantly, push us forward as the people. If you cannot make people think as you do, it's better if you make them do as you think. There is no passion found in playing small and settling for a life that is less than what you were capable of achieving. So said Nelson Mandela. So what are we trying to say? Citizens don't have time for games. Citizens don't want someone who's going to mess around with them. We want someone who knows what he is doing. We want someone who is goal-oriented, who has some direction, who will push us forward, because that is where we want to do. And if it means he has to fail forward, then let it be it. Because the most important thing here is our country and everything in our country. I go unflagged to say that citizens don't have time for weak democracy. We are better than this. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes to make your submissions.
Better half a loaf than none. Better less choices than forced choices. Better weak democracy than strong democracy. First of all, I would like to redefine the terms, because I do not agree with everything that the affirmative delegation spoke. Strong is fierce, powerful, and intense. In this case, we're talking about strong dictatorship. This is a form of governance which a government or a small group rules with almost unlimited power. This is a definition according to Cambridge University. What is weak? Weak is present and limited. It is not non-existent. Weak democracy is a system that may appear democratic. However, while participatory, it is not decisive, or the role of the people is limited to the selection of representatives. Let me make it clear. People are being representatives. People are being represented. Their affairs are being represented by the people who they chose. So they are limited to the choices of their representatives. That is why it is called a weak democracy. First of all, let me go to the rebuttals. The first speaker said that in weak democracy, we vote for corrupt leaders. He said that we are the ones who vote for these corrupt leaders. So the problem is not the people who we choose. The problem is in the people who choose the corrupt leaders. It is not the leaders, it is a matter of the people who choose these corrupt leaders. The first speaker also said that we are playing small in weak democracy, that people being represented or having views is playing small. We need someone who can push us. Instead of giving one person the whole responsibility in a country, why not elect someone who will push us? Don't say that we want someone. Elect someone who can push. Elect someone who is not corrupt, as you said. On our stand on this motion, where are we debating on this motion? For example, Kim Jong-un in North Korea follows the political regime of the Workers' Party of Korea and is heavily focused on the country's nuclear weapon program over the well-being of the people. This means that 40% of the population, which is 24 million, are under the poverty line. He's not doing anything to improve the living conditions. He's just trying to make his country secure instead of looking at the living conditions, the infrastructure, and the education of the people. First of all, with weak democracy, there is freedom of speech, choice, expression, and religion. Someone can choose to praise his God. Someone can choose to say that we do not want this, we want this. If the dictatorship doesn't work in your favor, what will you do? You can't say, oh no, we chose the wrong person. We didn't want this dictatorship. It's too late. You can't do anything about it. You can't say that we want someone who will push us. Elect the person instead of saying that we want them. Dictatorship is inevitable in some parts of the country. Dictatorship can actually, in some parts of the affairs, a government can actually use dictatorship in making decisions that actually favor the citizens. In weak democracy, people also have opinions on the representatives that they will choose, the representatives that will actually represent their affairs on the different affairs that these people have. Thank you.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for rebuttal.
Don't put off till tomorrow what can be done today. Jennifer Waithera from the MarryHill Girls High School. Strong dictatorship is better than weak democracy. First of all, may I just remind that as you sourced your terms from our university, we also sourced ourselves from our terms from the Oxford Dictionary 9th edition, based our understanding on those terms, and we have prepared a well-vetted motion. Thank you very much. First, you say that we all vote in capable leaders. Yes, no one is going to wake up in the morning, go make a long queue to vote in a corrupt leader. We all vote for leaders that we believe in. We all vote for leaders who we believe are going to make all the promises that they made to us come true. But let me remind all of you, we are basing our debate on weak democracy. Definition of weak: easily influenced. We vote in capable leaders, but at the very end, what do we get? We get setbacks, we get hiccups, we don't get what we wanted because it's a weak democracy. We are not being heard 100% as you will want to be. Again, why we are debating on weak democracy, and that's why we are all supporting strong dictatorship. Stability. Let's take this for instance. Stability doesn't change easily or simply being steady. Yes, stability. In a country of strong dictatorship, we are all following a common path. Why? We are listening to a common voice, a common rule from a dictator who we believe is very capable because he has been capable to take a whole country under dictatorship. I think he'll also be capable in making the right decision. In a country of strong dictatorship, the decisions of a country are left to the control of one person, one capable person. This reduces the infights among leaders. Which causes instability in a country. Now, in our country of weak democracy, each leader wants their voices to be heard. All their priorities to be taken care of. And most of all, it's not for our benefit, but their benefit. Not our benefit, but their benefit. Rwanda is a normal country in Africa, or let's even draw closer, it's just a normal country in East Africa. But according to CNN Review on Africa 2016, Rwanda has the fastest and strongest, is one of the most fastest growing country in Africa. It's accomplishing its SDGs, yes, at a very high rate, and mostly striving in number 6 SDG, clean water and sanitization. And you know the reason they gave us? You know the reason that you have consolidated in? It's because of its strong, positive dictatorship under its presidency, Paul Kagame. Strong dictatorship is better than weak democracy. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
Second speaker from the non-affirmative delegation, Anna Mwende. So before I begin with my points, I would like to rebuttal what the second proposer said. You talked about Rwanda. I do not disagree. I would like to shake your hand and tell you that yes, Rwanda does have dictatorship, but it does not have strong dictatorship. We're not talking about dictatorship, we're talking about strong dictatorship. Rwanda citizens still have the right to go and vote. You talk about a dictator, how we vote in corrupt leaders. You want to tell me the dictator you're going to put in place is going to be a liable person. Take the example of Sudan. Sudan had Omar al-Bashir for 52 years as their dictator. Where is Sudan right now? Sudan has no food security, has so many problems, underdevelopment because they had a dictator. So you telling me that we go in and put corrupt leaders, a dictator would be better, is not really adding up. Secondly, you want to tell me you're willing to give up your rights. In a weak democracy, you still have the right to vote. You have the right to go and choose your leader. As my first speaker said, it is limited because it is weak democracy. But your voice is still heard. However limited, your voice is heard. You want to give up rights someone fought for. Someone died for these rights, and you're willing to give them up, to listen to someone who will put his thoughts first. In the example of North Korea, we have Kim Jong-un. He is willing to focus more on nuclear machinery than the life of 24 million people. You want to tell me that is the world you want to live in? To my first point, weak democracy is still democracy, as I said, because it follows the 4 pillars of democracy. That is justice, equity, freedom, and representation. You have the freedom of choice. You are being represented. However small, you are still being represented. Weak democracy brings social classes together, unlike strong dictatorship that segregates people. I would like again to bring up the example of Sudan. Sudan, we know that Omar al-Bashir was removed from power by the military in collaboration of the people. These people put aside everything else, their social classes, from the rich to the poor, to come together and remove the strong dictator. We are willing to go back to something that has led Sudan to so many problems. If weak democracy was able to remove the strong dictatorship they had, why would we go back to that place? Talking about North Korea. In North Korea, the people who enjoy resources and infrastructure are chosen by the government. People who live in the upscale places are all chosen by the government because they agree to what they say. So everybody else who has a different opinion is led to live in the slums with lack of all these things because they want to be heard. Hitler killed 14 million Jews because he did not like them. Idi Amin banned Indians from his country because he did not like them. And this is the world you want to live in. A world whereby you are only respecting the votes and the wishes of one specific person. This is also respecting our sustainable development goal number 16. So please, we would like to tell you judges and our proposition to come and join us to remove strong dictators who've done nothing good for our world. Thank you.
The proposers have been asked, in a state that has strong dictatorship, doesn't that put the dictators at peril of assassination? The opposers have been asked, considering that there are hurdles such as bribing of electoral officials, doesn't that mean that having a weak democracy is just blinding the citizens to the truth of the matter? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Ni nani atakaye komboa Kenya? Ni nani atakaye komboa Kenya? Why do we still have cries, echoes of bitter cries of a people? The last time I checked, we had the capacity to choose leaders. We thought we had the capacity to choose leaders that we thought would take us to places. Does it mean we actually make the wrong choices when given the chance to? Let us burst the bubble. Strong dictatorship is characterized by easier decision making. Consider India, a country with such a high population, a country with diverse religions in the country. Discussions and meetings as purported by weak democracy would be highly inefficient in such a setup. There can never be a consensus within a people so diverse. With strong dictatorship comes decisions are centered to one central leader. To answer the question, don't you think strong dictatorship is putting the strong dictator under peril of being assassinated? Who is a strong dictator? A strong dictator is capable. A strong dictator is proficient. A strong dictator is loyal, intelligent, and benevolent. A benevolent dictatorship is when an authoritarian leader exercises absolute power over the state, but is perceived to do so with regard of benefit of the people. How many leaders have been assassinated under weak democracy? Tom Mboya, am I right? With strong dictatorship comes faster and effective growth and development. Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore from an extremely underdeveloped country to a wealthy country. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk removed modern Turkey from foreign influence of the former Ottoman territory. That is in accordance to SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Developments. I go by the name Akinyi Lavenda Okwach, brand of the MarryHill Girls High School.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Democracy is a device that ensures we shall be governed no less than we deserve. Kausa Kana from Juja Senior opposing the motion at hand. Now, I was asked a question by a very good gentleman there that if we have the weak democracy, isn't it just a mirage? So, I want to take you back to my first speaker. He gave the definition for weak democracy. Weak democracy is a system that may appear democratic, but either is, while participatory, is not decisive, or the role of the people is limited to the selection of representatives. So here we want to control the narrative, because I believe my first speaker said that we don't say that dictatorship is bad. We are just against the fact that strong dictatorship is better. We would rather have the weak democracy than have the strong dictatorship. I hope that answers the question. Now, for my rebuttals, she talked about that if we are going to have a dictator, we'll have easier decision-making and whatnot. You know what? We agree with you completely. Easier decision-making, progress, faster, perfect. Actually, we're actually together. But now, the question is, you have the easier decisions made. For who? Is it for the dictator or for the citizens? You have the progress. Is it for the dictator or for the citizens? Now, we have the freedom of choice, of speech. Now, all these freedoms, according to Chapter 4 Bill of Rights, these freedoms are according in the human rights. These freedoms are clamped down when you have a dictator, and overall have strong dictatorship. Let me give you an example. Syria's dictator, his name is Bashar al-Assad. In the Times Weekly on November 14, 2018, an article was published that Syria's economy has plummeted Due to the 2011 violence acts, there was a whole war. Why? They wanted to overthrow the dictator. Why? Because their rights, all their freedoms, nothing was being exercised. Remember, when it's a dictatorship government, this is a form of government in which there is centralization of power to one person, only one person. Let us take Kenya, for example. We have an estimate, an approximation of 42.4 million people and above. Yet, we want to give only one dictator whom we did not elect, whom we did not even agree to, yes, he can lead us. How? How can you agree to that? I don't understand. We would rather have the weak democracy where we are able to be represented. And this is not just a mirage or a fallacy. You are able to be represented than not having no representation. It's better you have half a loaf than no bread. Thank you.
Proposition, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
I don't see the use of making a choice, yet you will still not be heard. Remember, electoral processes are not free. A lot of money is wasted in campaigns and voter registration. I mean, weak democratic countries really don't have time for this. This explains their slow development. What hurts me most is to see politicians that people elected not knowing that they would be lied to. To see them living unnecessary symbiotic lifestyles. To see them living lives that are not what we hoped they would live. Living lives that we wish we would live. I see leaders absorbed in our sweat. Sweat, they said, would water seeds of development, their development. You may think I thrive by criticism, but I thrive in hope. The youth live on hope, but the old live through remembrance. This is our hope. This is the faith we go back with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountains of despair and a stone of hope. With this faith, we'll be able to transform the jangling discords of the world into a strong symphony of success. This is also from Martin Luther King. So join me in proposing this. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 1 minute for your final statement.
Hope and faith. Very beautiful terms. We also have hope and faith. But ladies and gentlemen, today we're not going to stand on the grounds of hope and faith alone. We have given you examples of countries such as North Korea, Syria, Sudan, where dictatorship, strong dictatorship, as a matter of fact, has not worked out. And the proposition has not been able to tell us where weak democracy goes wrong. They have the hope and faith that yes, dictatorship will work, and they continuously accuse citizens, us, me and you, that we are the ones who cast the ballots and bring in the corrupt leaders. Is it our fault that they're corrupt? I don't think so. So they have accused us that we are unable to bring in the good leaders. So, in the strong dictatorship, do you think that leader will listen to everyone? I gave you an example of Syria. Look what happened, Hitler. All these are all examples of dictators who actually they were not even concerned with others' rights, only theirs. We have to remember that dictators of geniuses are succeeded by scoundrels. Thank you.
MarryHill, Daniela, good. You defined the terms for us as the first speaker. That was okay. You were also confident, though I feel you could have done a bit more. Jennifer, really confident, gave examples to back your facts, and also quite passionate as you were expressing yourself. Akinyi, I liked how you answered the question from the audience. You even gave examples as you did that. You also gave reference to the SDGs, and you're also really passionate.
Juja, Mark, I would say fair. The reason why is because of examples as well. It was lacking a bit of examples that we would have wanted. And as a first speaker, you set the pace by really building a case, okay? So sometimes you want to dwell on examples so that at least the case becomes stronger. Anna, it's very commendable of you. And you also came and gave examples with citations as well. No, you missed the citation, sorry. You came to talk about the North Korea example, for example. You talked about Hitler, Idi Amin, and the likes. Those were commendable examples and were very much strong for your team. I feel like you're very much strong this time around. Same to Kana as well. Well done. And even the examples of Syria and the likes as well. So that was very much commendable. We appreciate what you have done. Let's wait for the results.
Juja Preparatory School. The judges saw it fit to award you 68%. Let's give them a round of applause. MarryHill High School, you earned yourself 69%, making you the winners of the debate. Congratulations to both teams. You have given us an amazing debate.
Indeed, thank you so much for giving us a good show, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, the debate does not end here. The conversation still continues across our social media platforms with the hashtag GDC for SDGs. We'd also like to encourage each and every school to take up at least one sustainable development goal so as to make Kenya a better place.
That's it for today. I have been your host, Esperancia Kapanga.
And I am Chris Boru. Till next time.